The war had ended, but the pain still lived in people's hearts. 5 years ago, the galaxy saw one of its deadliest wars, between humans and the Cyrilian Empire. Battles were fought across stars, planets were turned into dust, peace talks had failed, and both sides believed the other was too dangerous. Among the lives lost during those years was the Cyrilian princess, Vela. Her ship had been hit near human space. She was declared missing, most likely dead. Her people mourned her, and her name became part of sad songs and old stories. Nobody knew the truth, not until now. On a quiet planet called Terran 4, near the outer edge of human space, lived a man named Evan. He had once been a pilot during the war. After the ceasefire, he had chosen to live away from people. He didn't like attention. He didn't like reporters, and he didn't like to remember the war. Every night he sat by the old lake near his home and looked up at the stars. He had a secret. One he never told anyone. Not his friends. Not the local traders who brought supplies. Not even the Alliance officers who came to ask if he had seen anything strange during the war, because 5 years ago, during a mission, his ship had picked up a strange signal. It was weak, buried under the noise of battle. Most would have ignored it. But Evan had followed it. It led him to a crash site, burning metal, broken wings, shattered glass. It was a Cyrilian royal vessel, and in the middle of the wreckage, lying half alive, was a young alien girl. He didn't know who she was, only that she was wounded, scared, and barely breathing. He had pulled her out, wrapped her in a blanket, and flown back to a hidden outpost. He didn't report her. He didn't ask questions. He just helped her survive. Her name, she whispered, later, was Vela. She didn't speak much during those first days. Her skin was pale, glowing slightly under the lamps. Her eyes were violet and watched everything with fear. She had burns on her arms and a deep wound on her side. Evan spent weeks caring for her, making soup, changing bandages, talking even when she didn't answer. Slowly she started to speak. At first, just short words. Then full sentences. "Why did you help me?" she asked one day, her voice soft, like wine through trees. "Because you needed help," he said. She stared at him, confused. "We are enemies." "Not here," he said. "Not anymore." As her body healed, so did her spirit. She started asking about Earth food. She asked why humans smiled. She asked why he didn't hand her over to the military. He always gave simple answers. He didn't expect anything from her. He didn't even know she was a princess, not until she stood outside his home one morning, wearing his oversized coat, and said, "I must leave soon. They will come for me." He frowned. "Who?" "My people." "Your royalty," he realized. She nodded. "They'll think I died. I let them think that. I couldn't return, not yet." He didn't ask why. He just made her tea. One night, she sat beside him at the lake. The stars reflected in the water like tiny ships floating in silence. She said, "I was afraid of humans, but you're not like the stories." He smiled a little. Stories never tell everything. When she touched his hand, it was gentle and unsure. He didn't pull away. The next morning, she was gone. No goodbye. No note. Just silence. Evan searched, but there were no footprints. No ship marks. No signs. He guessed someone had come for her. Maybe she went back willingly. Maybe she was taken. He never told anyone about her, not even when the news showed her picture years later, still marked as missing and presumed dead. But he remembered. He remembered her voice, her questions, the way her eyes softened when she laughed, the way she looked at his hand like it was something new. He had let her go. Now, 5 years later, the galaxy spoke her name again, but not in sadness. Princess Vela was alive. Rumors spread fast, across systems, through broken comms, in the halls, of power and the slums of miners. An official report confirmed it. Vela, heir of the Cyrilian Empire, had returned. She would attend the next Galactic Peace Council. She would speak to the worlds. No one expected what came next. On the day of her arrival, the great council hall filled with leaders, reporters, guards, and curious eyes. Cyrilian nobles stood in rows, dressed in silver and deep blue. Humans sat, on the other side, unsure what to expect. And then the doors opened. Vela entered, tall and proud, wearing her royal colors. Her eyes scanned the crowd, but she wasn't alone. She was holding someone's hand, a human's hand. The room went silent. Behind her walked Evan, no longer in his pilot's jacket, but in a simple, clean suit. His eyes didn't look proud. They looked calm, unsure. But he didn't let go of her hand. Vela held it tightly. Whispers filled the air. Some gasped. Others stared in shock. Was it real? Was that a human beside her? And why did she look so comfortable? Nobles shifted nervously. Humans looked at one another. The press began taking pictures at once, but Vela only looked forward. She did not explain. Not yet. They reached the front and stood together, and Evan thought, as the lights hit them, that maybe he wasn't meant to stay hidden forever. Maybe, just maybe, the war hadn't taken everything after all. The moment Princess Vela and Evan walked into the great council hall, all eyes turned toward them. The room was full of leaders, nobles, and reporters from many different planets and species. No one expected to see the princess alive after all those years, and no one expected her to be holding the hand of a human. Whispers spread like wildfire. How could the princess hold a human's hand? A Cyrilian noble whispered angrily to his neighbor. Is this some kind of trick? Another leader said quietly. Evan stayed calm, but inside he felt nervous. He had never faced so many strangers before. He had lived quietly on the edge of human space, avoiding attention. Now, all the galaxy's eyes were on him. Vela squeezed his hand gently and whispered, "Stay calm." The council leader, a tall alien with blue scales, stood to speak. Princess Vela, we welcome you back after all these years. The galaxy has many questions about your survival and your return. Please, share your story with us. Vela nodded and stepped forward. Her voice was strong but soft. 5 years ago, my ship was attacked near human space. I was injured and lost. I believed I would die, but a human saved me. Gasps filled the room. Some humans looked proud, others shocked. The Cyrilians stared in disbelief. She continued. This human, Evan, did not turn me in. He hid me, cared for me, and helped me heal. He showed me kindness when the war had only brought fear. Evan looked at Vela, feeling proud but humble. He said, I only did what any good person would do. She was hurt and needed help. Enemies or not, we are all living beings. Vela smiled softly. I left quietly to protect Evan from harm. If my people knew where I was, they might have hurt him. Now I have returned to show the galaxy that hope still exists. The room grew quiet. Then one of the Cyrilian nobles stood up angrily. This is treason! A human cannot be trusted! How can our princess return with the enemy? Vela looked at him calmly. This human saved my life. He showed me that the war is not all that defines us. I ask you to look beyond old hatred. A human ambassador spoke next. This story is proof that peace is possible. We must build bridges, not walls. Not all agreed. Some whispered doubts. Some called Evan a spy. Others questioned Vela's loyalty. The council leader raised his hands to calm the crowd. We will investigate all concerns, but for now, we must listen and seek truth. After the speech, Evan and Vela were led to a secure room. Reporters waited outside, cameras flashing. The story was already spreading faster than anyone could stop it. Vela sat beside Evan, her eyes tired but hopeful. The war changed many things, but it also changed me. Evan nodded. You are strong, Vela. Stronger than I ever imagined. I was lost, she said quietly. Lost to fear, to pain, to anger. But you brought me back, not just to life, but to hope. Evan smiled. And now, you bring hope to many. Their moment was interrupted by a guard. Princess, a delegation from your empire requests your presence. Vela stood and looked at Evan. I must face my people. I'll be right here, he said, holding her hand. The delegation was cold and formal. The Cyrilian council members asked many questions, some polite, some harsh. They doubted her choices. Some warned her about trusting humans. Vela listened, but did not waver. She spoke of peace, of rebuilding, and of hope. She said, the war took much from us, but it does not have to take everything. We can choose a better path. Later, alone with Evan, she confessed, they want me to abandon you, to forget what happened. But I can't. Neither can I, Evan replied. Outside the council hall, the galaxy buzzed with mixed feelings. Some cheered the princess's courage. Others feared change. Many waited to see what would happen next. Vela and Evan knew the road ahead would be hard. Enemies lurked, and old wounds ran deep. But together, they were ready to face the future. Hand in hand, they walked out into the bright light of a new day. After the Princess Vela returned to the Cyrilian Empire, many in the galaxy wanted to know the truth about her time away. Questions buzzed through the halls of power, whispered in busy marketplaces, and shouted in news broadcasts. The idea of a human saving and protecting a Cyrilian princess seemed unbelievable to many. Vela and Evan found themselves at the center of attention. The Galactic Council was not satisfied with Vela's story alone. They called for an investigation. Officials wanted to know if Evan had secret plans or if Vela had been brainwashed. Rumors spread quickly. Some said the human was a spy sent to weaken the Cyrilian Empire from inside. Vela and Evan knew these rumors were dangerous. They had to prove their story was true and that their bond was real. Vela decided to speak openly. She requested a meeting with the council and invited Evan to stand with her. Together they faced the leaders of many species. Vela began, I was injured and alone. The war made enemies of many. But Evan chose to help me, not because of politics, but because of kindness. He never asked for anything in return. Evan added, I saw a person in need, not an enemy. It was simple. Anyone with a heart would have done the same. Some council members softened their stance. Others still doubted. They asked difficult questions about loyalty and trust. Vela answered honestly. I love my people, but I cannot ignore the truth I lived. Humans are not just warriors or enemies. They are also capable of compassion. A Cyrilian general stood up, voice cold. Your words risk dividing our empire. Can we trust a princess who holds the hand of a human? Vela met his gaze firmly. Trust is earned through actions, not fear. I ask my people to judge me by what I do, not who I stand beside. Evan looked at the general. War leaves scars, but it can also teach us lessons. Peace needs courage. We want to build that courage together. The meeting lasted hours. Some leaders nodded slowly. Others remained silent. The debate was fierce, but respectful. Outside the council chamber, news spread. Many praised Vela's honesty and bravery. Others feared the change she represented. Vela and Evan spent long days together, planning how to bring peace between humans and Cyrilians. They talked about culture, history, and hope. Vela told Evan stories of her childhood in the Cyrilian palace, the strict rules, the pressure to be perfect, the loneliness of royalty. Evan shared his memories of a small human town, his family, and the war's toll. Their bond grew stronger. But danger lurked. In the shadows of the Cerealian court, some nobles planned to stop Vela. They saw her new path as betrayal. They whispered about removing her from power. Vela knew the risk, but refused to back down. One night, as she and Evan walked through the palace gardens, she said quietly, "This road is harder than I thought." Evan took her hand. "We face it together. You are not alone anymore." Vela smiled softly. "You saved me once. Now I will fight to save us all." Their hands stayed joined under the stars. The peaceful words spoken by Princess Vela did not stop the storm gathering in the shadows. Some powerful members of the Cerealian court saw her new path as a threat. They believed the alliance with humans was dangerous, and that Vela's choice to stand with Evan was a betrayal. Among them was General Carvos, a man known for his strict views and loyalty to the old ways. He feared losing control over the empire if Vela's ideas of peace spread. Quietly, he gathered allies who shared his anger. One evening, during a grand diplomatic event celebrating the new peace talks, General Carvos made his move. Vela and Evan were at the center of the celebration. The hall was filled with dignitaries from many planets. Music played softly. Laughter echoed. The air was warm with hope. But beneath the bright lights, danger waited. As Vela raised her glass to toast, "The future!" A hidden figure slipped through the crowd toward her. Evan noticed first. His eyes narrowed. He stepped closer to Vela, his hand still holding hers. Suddenly, a sharp noise broke the music. A gunshot. People screamed and dove for cover. Vela fell forward, her face shocked. Evan reacted instantly. He pushed her behind him and drew his own weapon. The shooter was caught quickly by guards, but the damage was done. Vela was shaken but unharmed. Evan's quick action had saved her life. The event turned from celebration to chaos. The attack revealed that not all in the Empire wanted peace. Investigations showed that the shooter was linked to General Carvos and his allies. Vela knew this was more than just an attack. It was a warning. She stood before her people and said, "We face enemies not just outside but within. Those who fear change may try to destroy what we build. But we will not let fear win." Evan recovered from a minor injury during the attack. Vela never left his side. Their bond grew even stronger through the danger. Together they worked to root out the traitors and protect the fragile peace. Vela's courage inspired many. Some who had doubted her began to see the strength in her vision. Yet, the threat remained. One night, as Evan guarded the palace, he found a secret message hidden in a garden statue. It warned of another attack planned during a secret meeting of the council. Vela and Evan quickly prepared. When the night came, they were ready. The attackers were caught before they could strike again. The princess spoke to her people. "This peace is hard won, it will be tested. But as long as we stand together, fear will never rule us." Hand in hand, Vela and Evan faced the future, not as enemies, but as partners. After the attacks and betrayals, the galaxy watched closely. Princess Vela and Evan had shown great courage. Many began to believe that a new era of peace was possible. The war was no longer the center of their story. Hope was. Vela traveled across many planets, meeting leaders, people, and former enemies. Evan was always by her side, holding her hand, showing the strength of their bond. Together, they spoke about trust, forgiveness, and the future. In one great gathering on the neutral planet of Zalara, Vela stood before a mixed crowd of humans, Cerealians, and others. She said, "We have all suffered. We have all lost. But now we choose to build together, not to fight." Evan added, "The hand I hold is a symbol, not just of love, but of unity. We can be stronger when we stand together." The crowd cheered. Old wounds began to heal. Soon, treaties were signed. Trade routes reopened. Borders once closed were now open to visitors. People from many worlds began to share stories, food, and friendship. Vela and Evan returned to the Cerealian Empire, where the people had changed. Many nobles who once opposed Vela's return now supported her. The empire began to heal, growing stronger with peace rather than war. But even as the galaxy smiled on them, Vela and Evan knew challenges remained. Not all would accept the new way easily. They would need to stay strong and united. One evening, under the twin moons of the Cerealian homeworld, Vela and Evan stood on a balcony overlooking the city. Vela said, "I was lost once, to war and fear, but now I see a future worth fighting for." Evan smiled, "And I am proud to fight beside you." They held hands, the simple act a promise of hope for all. The galaxy watched as two worlds, once enemies, found peace in the hands of a princess and a human. Their story became legend, a tale of courage, love, and the power of kindness to change the universe.